We went to Rhodes at the end of August 2024 and have compiled 10 most common questions that were asked on Google to hopefully help you and the fellow families enjoy Rhodes and make the trip a lot easier. The most important question is it safe for families? Absolutely. Our kids loved it there. They loved how shallow, safe, and clean the water was, and that the beaches were walking distance from our villa. The other reason is that we stayed in Lindos, which is a pedestrian-friendly town. You don't actually even need a car if you're staying in Lindos. And so being able to walk the streets and not worried about being run over by a car was a big plus. And then the other thing is history. They get to see the history. They get to explore ancient ruins, especially Acropolis of Lindos that was perched right above our hotel. And for them to be able to see that firsthand was priceless. Question number 2, how many days is enough in Rhodes? We spent 5 days in Rhodes, and I would say probably 7 days is enough. I wish we had more time. Now 5 days was good, especially if you're in Lindos, and we got to see all the highlights. But I would say, you know, if we had extra 2 days, I would go to Simi Island, which we did not get to do. I would go to the Valley of the Butterflies, and they have some cool museum like the Toy Museum or the Bee Museum. So I would appreciate maybe 2 to 3 extra days, but I think a week should be plenty. Question number 3, is it easy to get around Rhodes without a car? Yes and no. If you're planning on staying only in Lindos or Rhodes town, you may not need a car, especially in Lindos, because there are beaches that are walking distance from many Airbnbs and small boutique hotels in Lindos. You can also walk to the Acropolis, but if you're planning on exploring Rhodes, you should rent a car. We rented a car for 1 day only through Melanos Lindos, and it was about €100 for the day, and it was worth every penny. It was very easy to drive in Rhodes. They even pump your gas, so it was very similar to New Jersey. They drive on the right side, and a lot of the signs are also in English. So we had no trouble driving to Rhodestown and then Sambika Beach and just kind of finding parking and driving around. So you don't have to have a car. I think there's also public transportation, but I would recommend renting a car for like a day or 2 to explore the rest of the island. Question number 4, which side of Rhodes is best to stay on? We stayed on the east side. That's where Lindos is. We rented a car and drove an hour north to Rhodes town. That is also on the east side. Given that a lot of the major attractions are on the east side, it's probably the best place to stay. There are a lot of hotels along the coast. There are a lot of historical landmarks and cool beaches. So I think if you want the most for your money, I would stay on the east side. Question number 5, what is the best month to visit Rhodes? So as I mentioned before, we went at the end of August. It was great, but it was very hot and very crowded. If I were to do this again, I would go in September, especially probably early to mid-September. There's gonna be less crowds, and hopefully the temperature will not be as hot. In the springtime, there are less tourists, but I think the water is not as warm to swim in. And later on in the fall, I think the air and the water temperature cools down. But I think right at the end of summer, beginning of fall is the perfect time, and that's what I would do again if I also did not have children and was not stuck with the school holiday schedule. Question number 6, what to do in Rhodes with kids? Many things. I would definitely visit Lindos, and you can visit the Acropolis, the donkey rides to the Acropolis, which is a pretty unique experience. You can visit 3 beaches that are in Lindos, then driving up to Rhodestown to see the Palace of the Grand Master, the Street of the Knights, the Archaeological Museum, and then visiting beaches such as Sambika Beach with cool inflatable water park, nice water. There is a monastery there as well. There are other things. There's school museum like the Toy Museum, the Bee Museum, the Valley of the Butterflies. So there are definitely activities you can do with kids and to keep them entertained. Question number 7. Why is Rhodes so famous? One of the main reasons is because the location of the island is in the crossroads between Asia Minor, Northern Africa, and Europe. Due to this location, it has influences from the Byzantine era, from Europeans, and the Greeks and the Turkish. This leads to an amazing architecture and amazing history. So it has a lot of Byzantine influence, but also Greek influence. The history of Rhodes dates to thousands and thousands of years BC, and it truly is in an ancient island. It was also a home to Colossus of Rhodes, which was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And it also was, I think, part of the Trojan era in a lot of the poetry. Question number 8. Is Rhodes expensive? I would say moderately so. We stayed at a boutique hotel, which was about $800 to $900 a night for the villa. We stayed in, the villa had 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and we definitely splurged on that. But there are cheaper options in the vicinity of the villa. There are Airbnbs and other boutique type hotels. The food was on par with the US prices, so a little expensive, but what we would expect in the tourist areas. The museums and the parking was a lot cheaper than I would expect. So it was not a cheap destination, but it wasn't the most expensive place we visited. Question number 9. Are there mosquitoes in Rhodes? So my husband and my older son are allergic to mosquitoes and they take them seriously. So this is definitely a question they would look for. They were not bitten by mosquitoes. We sat in our courtyard every day and every night and did not have any mosquito bites. It may be because we were not directly on the water and we were higher up, but we did not have any mosquito issues. Question number 10. Do they speak English and what currency do they use? Yes, they do speak English, and we were surprised by how many people actually spoke pretty fluent English, or enough to have a basic conversation. They use euros, and with that, tipping is not expected but is appreciated. Extra piece of information, I was surprised by how salty the seawater was. It was fun for me because it was easy to swim, but if you like to swim underwater with your eyes open, your eyes will hurt and they will burn. So if you're planning to snorkel, bring goggles and snorkeling equipment. Otherwise, it is actually a lot of fun to swim in the sea.